How you doing? This is Sean McVeigh with Sean's Outdoor Adventures. I just want to give you a little bit of a picture of what to expect this year in the Compound Bow Review Series. I've been trying to step up my game, trying to make them even better every year, make it better this year than last year. One of the things I was planning to implement this year is a middle range weighted arrow. So last year I shot 350 grain, 5 grain per pound, 70 pounds, 30-inch draw. I shot a 550 grain. So this year I wanted to include 450 grains, and I was originally planning to start the compound bow reviews next week, and then I was working with emailing somebody from Prime trying to get them in the review series, and it ended up it was sort of a last minute thing on me. They had a rep coming through my area, so I had to go drive an hour to meet him today to do the review. And I didn't yet have those middle range arrows, so I had to shift through last night what I had on hand. And all I had that I could get there with were these Easton Fat Boys. So it's a fatter diameter arrow. The challenge there is a lot of shops are going to have whisker biscuits, and with that fatter diameter arrow, you're going to have a little friction from the shaft. And so I want to just note that right now, that my middle range, these arrows, what the speeds we'll be seeing might be, 3 or 4 feet per second slower. Hold on, let me interject here. Wearing something different because it's a different day than when I just recorded what you were just watching. But I decided, I was thinking about it after recording that segment, I'm going to go ahead and get a different 450 grain arrow, the middle grain arrow, for the rest of the Compound Bow Review series. So what that means is throughout the rest of the series, all the other bows that I do, that middleweight arrow, when you compare it to Prime, that particular weight, the 450 grain or 425, depending on which tip is in there, that one those feet per second ratings might come out a little lower on the Prime, because that was the first bow I did with those arrows, and the rest I'm going to have some made up that is a thinner diameter, so there's not that issue. Another thing I'm doing this year, same as last year, I'm doing the decibel meter and the chronograph 3 feet 6 inches away is where I'll be standing to shoot these things through. But to try to help, there was some people that commented last year that from one location to another, your decibel readings could be different due to acoustics and whatnot. So my solution for that is I have what I'm calling a control bow, a bow that I am bringing with me to every location and shooting it through the chronograph and the decibel, and recording the decibel readings and comparing from one location to another. So if one location seems to be coming in with higher readings, we can adjust for that, and I think that makes it a little fairer when we're talking about the decibel meter readings and things like that. I also got a portable draw board this year. That way I can verify the draw weight and the draw length, but also how much let-off we're dealing with, because those are some things that came into question last year. So now I can verify every single bow at every location. Another thing I'm incorporating this year is there's really no good way to test for shootability, because so much of it is up to the individual shooter. Especially if someone has bad habits in their shooting, well, no bow is probably going to be a real good shooter for them. And if another person picks up that bow and shoots it really well, it's hard to say what is the bow doing. But one thing I'm going to do this year, which I haven't done in the past, is I'm going to be putting this sight on every bow. This is the IQ Retina Lock. And one of the things I'm going to be looking at is how well do I hold it on the target, and how easy is it for me to hit the same amount of torque or no torque each time I pick up the bow. And I'll be able to see that with that Retina Lock in there. Some grips, it might be easier for me to avoid torquing it, and I'll be able to detect that with this. I also bought a vibration meter that I'm mounting to the side of the sight, so that it's at the same location on every bow, and that's going to capture vibration readings. So, it was a fairly expensive unit. Here's a graph from the testing I did today. I just want to say this though, even with the upgraded meter than what I was trying to do last year, The numbers can really vary. I think even the way you grip the bow can impact the vibration reading that this is getting. So although I'm trying to capture data, and rather than just say it's got a dead in the hand feel or there's no hand shock or there's no vibration, I was trying to assign a number. However, some of the numbers, even with the same grain arrow, like I'll shoot 3 arrows at 350 grains, and you know, one reading could be 19, the next one 12, and I think that could also have to do with something how I'm gripping the bow or just the meter itself, even though it's an expensive meter. And so I just want to point out, I'm making an effort to get good, reliable data. However, it seems like even when a human's involved, holding the bow and things like that, there's such variations that can come out. Just keep that in mind as the data comes out. One last thing I'm trying to do a little bit this year is a little more testing with let off and poundage. So today I did the first round of series of tests, and it was a 70-pound limb bow. I originally wanted to do all the bows at 65 pounds this year because, you know, my shoulder. I did injure my shoulder many years ago, and so when I pull a lot of bows at 70 pounds, it starts to really hurt. However, being that a lot of shops are not even every bow produces a 65-pound limb, what I'm going to do is shoot them at 70 pounds, but I also want to just see what's the impact of dropping it to 65 and still shooting at 5 grains per pound. So what I have here is a 350 grain arrow, a 450 grain arrow, and a 550 grain arrow. But with swapping out the tips, I can go 525, 425, and 325 when I drop the bow to 65-pound pull. What does that do to the performance and feel of the bow? So I'm trying to incorporate some of that data, because if you're buying a bow and you're not planning to shoot it at 70 pounds, maybe you want to shoot it at 65, what can you expect as far as what that bow is going to do? So that's some of the data I'm trying to provide for you this year. That's a little outlook on the compound bow review series. So thanks for tuning in. Until the next one, take care and God bless.